And we're live. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, extraterrestrials, hobbits, and cryptids, to our sixth episode of Scuttlebutt with the Phill show on Fleet Admiral Levi channel. If you're watching this now or in the future, please leave a like or comment or share it if you liked it. But in reality, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. I'm here to say a few things, do a couple of things, and hopefully give a little of myself to the infamy of the internet. Tonight we'll be discussing just one item, namely the first week in an MFA program here in good old San Diego at San Diego State University. So this episode might be a tad shorter than most of my normal episodes, but generally speaking, I think I like to have my episodes be between 30 minutes, and if I have someone on the show with me, probably 2 at most. I don't think we'll ever go longer than that, at least here on this channel. I have gone much longer on other channels, especially the Anti-Derivative Jill show, where we're currently discussing For All Mankind Season 2. We skipped last week due to an obligation on my behalf, and I think we skipped another day. So it's been a couple of weeks, but we will be back for another show on Tuesday, September 3rd, where we'll be discussing episodes 7 and 8 of For All Mankind Season 2. So I hope that you all join us for that stream when the time comes. But I hope you all enjoy a very, very nice Labor Day weekend. Until then. But first up, so this week was the first week of the MFA program, the MFA in Creative Writing program. My emphasis is in fiction. Not a lot of people online, I guess, talk about their experiences in MFAs, except to kind of like warn people off or suggest options for them to otherwise do instead. I met quite a few people. Well, I guess I should backtrack. I had class on Monday, no class on Tuesday. Tuesdays from now on, I think, are pretty much open, which I think works perfectly fine for the Anti-Derivative Jill shows For All Mankind reviews. Wednesday, I have one class, and then Thursday, I have another class. And those classes, I am a student. On Friday, I'm teaching as part of their teaching associate program. So it's an opportunity of theirs to offer me a little bit of experience teaching as well as a little bit of money on the side to work as a sort of pre-professor in the role. I guess first up, we will talk about Monday through Thursday courses as a student, and then I'll talk about a little bit about my classes on Friday as a professor. And then we'll kind of close it up with kind of a general overview of kind of the people I've met and go from there. So, yeah, Monday we had Theory of Form and Fiction with the professor Stephen Paul Martin. And he's an older individual, but he's probably the main reason I got into the program, or the main reason I even thought about joining the program. When I initially applied to the MFA programs earlier in, I think, late 2023, early 2024, most of the programs that I wanted to apply for were exceedingly expensive. So originally I was working my way from 13 schools, and I opted to select 6 of them that I knew I could feasibly attend and that were not too terribly distant and wouldn't be too difficult to relocate to if need be. But when his invitation to become a student at the MFA program came through, he gave specific examples at why I and my work were things that would belong in the program. And I thought to myself that I think the program was something for me. I thought that my work would be appreciated there, and that was very heartening to find out. Um, the thing that I was uncertain of was that I was living in East LA at the time, how we would facilitate a relocation down to San Diego due to my fiance living down in San Diego for 3 years before we met, and I relocated her from San Diego to East LA. Um, we kind of came to the conclusion that between the two other schools that I got accepted to, Chapman and Cal State Long Beach, that San Diego State's invitation to the program was a lot more personalized and thus more something that had to have been the one that we'd choose just due to the fact that it didn't seem as boilerplate or as sort of bland as the other two schools. And so it felt like a no brainer. And obviously, I think I was sort of hedging my bets for San Diego in some ways due to the fact that um, I do plan to pursue a PhD when the time comes, and I'm planning to pursue that PhD either in creative writing or in literature. Right now, I'm still not certain of it. I think I do need to talk to a few professors about it just to touch base and kind of gauge where I want to go. Um, that being said, I think there's only a handful of programs that even offer creative writing. There's some that offer, or even fewer, that offer a combination of creative writing and literature, and that would be another um, amazing opportunity if that had come up. But the schools that denied me were the University of Texas at Austin, and that one was definitely one that I would have preferred to have gone. I think it's another 3 year program, but it would be $100,000, and it's basically no teaching. It's just you envelop yourself in writing for 3 years, and I thought that that would have been an amazing opportunity. But they came back to me and said no, and they even told me that don't even email us telling us why we said no, which I thought was very disheartening. But so be it. The other two schools I applied to were UC level schools, and those both also they put me on a wait list, and then um, came out and said that I wasn't going to attend, and that was UC Riverside and UC Irvine. So I guess I don't fault them on that one. I mean, I've been told UC Irvine's a good writing program, but um, I guess they didn't want me, so it was a no-brainer that I would end up going to San Diego State after all of that. I think that whole email is what shot that class up, in my opinion. But Monday, the form and fiction theory of form and fiction class is more of a discussion course where we're kind of analyzing writing and like looking at craft. And I think if your purpose in an MFA program is strictly to improve your writing, you should be doing your best to improve on the craft of your writing. So you would be trying to try new styles and new things that work for you in the format. And for me, I've always wanted to emulate certain styles of writers that I enjoy reading. So I would always look to people like Stanislaw Lem or Kurt Vonnegut being the main one. Stylistically or kind of attitude wise, I feel like I'm always more of I would like to yearn to be someone like Hunter S. Thompson, just without all the drugs. But can you really have a Hunter S. Thompson without all the drugs? That's another question for the ages, I feel. But beyond that, you have other writers that I enjoy that I've tried to emulate in the past. And there's a really good story that I heard about Hunter S. Thompson where he wanted to feel how it felt to write a really good novel or a great novel by typing out every single word of The Great Gatsby word for word on his typewriter. And something like that always piqued my interest because feel like that kind of a thing is the kind of insanity that you need when you're pursuing a fiction writing career. Um, I've gone through and I've sort of written my own stuff over the years too. Um, to think about what I would actually try to emulate as a writer. My style is more of a Hemingway sort of cut and dry style, but I am trying to make it more flourished, that feels like more of a style that I feel like my writing deserves. And that's part of the reason an MFA in creative writing was something I wanted to pursue, so that I can improve my writing to a level that I felt my writing deserves, or at least the kind of stories that I want to tell deserve. So that's partly what I'm hoping to get out of the Monday class, is learning a bit more of how to improve my craft. And then the Wednesday course is the workshop course, and I'll be going up as part of the first batch of students. It's me and two other guys, and I have like 12 different stories I could pick from, I think, on the day of, because I think our next class meeting is on September 4th. And I think what I'm going to do is, have a meeting with the professor, and I'm going to try to figure out what the game plan is for my writing, as well as what I preliminarily want to pick as my manuscript story that I want to write. Because the way they have it set up is that you would be a writer for a bunch of short stories through all these different semesters. You have 6 semesters in the program, but for the final 2 semesters, you'll be expected to write a full-length novel manuscript that you'll be publishing at the school, and then that publication will end up somewhere in the school's library. And I think that's still very appealing to me. So I'll be pursuing that as well. Yeah, the Wednesday course, I think, holds the most curiosity for me, because it's not the first time I've been in writing workshops or anything like that. Typically, the writing workshops that I had been in were on Friday mornings, and usually held at Long Beach City College, and I had attended those for a good 10 years. And I'm grateful for that time, considering the fact that the times that I was in that course for those maybe 10, 12 years off and on, they helped me facilitate create 5 novels. And I've always been of the mentality that it's not so much important to publish anything, but it's important to write stuff. And so I've done my best to just write as much as possible and put as much material out into the world as possible, even if I don't publish it. It's just out there. Because some elements of my stories have ended up on different Wikia articles that are out there. You can find a lot of them, and I'll probably mention them as we go along in our episodes of Scuttlebutt with the Phill, and any videos that we post on the Fleet Admiral Levi channel. So the writing workshop at the MFA level definitely feels like you're encountering people that are there strictly for the craft of writing and trying to hone their craft or learn something about themselves and kind of figure out what it is they want to do for the rest of their writing careers. And a lot of that I feel is pretty gratifying. A lot of the people there I feel are on the same wavelength in terms of writing that I am. So, and in terms of wavelength, I just mean that we're all there to write, we're all there to produce something, and we're all very excited to learn about what styles and learn about what kinds of stories we're all trying to tell. And at the last, I believe it was on Wednesday, we had a graduate mixer for the MFA and MA students, and we all kind of met each other. Granted, I didn't meet everybody because it's quite a large group of people, but I got acquainted with a few people, and I think I'm going to try to do my best to eventually meet everybody. And then from there, have lifelong connections that, I can help bring them up, or they can bring me up, and then, we constantly move about like that. The virtue of being in Southern California is that we have access to LA, Hollywood, and all the interesting things that are up there. But the counter to that is we have a rapidly slowing down film industry that has left a lot of writers in the lurch. And so you have a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurial storytelling. There have been plenty of people publishing novels that have been funded through Kickstarter or Indiegogo or GoFundMe's. And I think I may go that route eventually, but we're going to try to do some unique things before we get to that point. Outside of that, the Wednesday class was, like I said, the workshop, and it's a cohort model, so all of us will be sticking around with each other for the next 3 years. And I think that that whole idea is quite fascinating too. I've never been in a cohort model like that, so I think that'll be an interesting dynamic to sort of learn outside of what I've been used to in the past. But Thursday night's class was the one I had the biggest issue with, but the professor of that class is separate from the classes on Monday and Wednesday, which are taught by the same professor. And supposedly, and I don't know if I misheard somebody, but apparently the person who used to teach that class had passed on some point during the summer, and so they had to scramble to find a replacement professor who could do the job. And so this particular professor published her course on Canvas on basically the hour prior to the class starting. So I thought that was very interesting. But a lot of that people in that class are some of the same people that are in the Monday and Wednesday class, because we're all kind of learning our bit for that. And the Thursday course is called I think it's like teaching writing or something to that effect. Teaching reading, writing, and studies. And this course sets you up to prepare you for being a professor, or rather a teaching associate or graduate teaching assistant for RWS courses. That's reading and writing studies courses, or rhetoric and writing story studies. So that would be the next movement for me in terms of my academic role as a professor. I would be moving from these presidential student success courses that I'm teaching to RWS 100 or 200 courses where I'm teaching composition. And luckily for me, my bachelor's is in rhetoric and composition, so I'll be in the right spot. And my goal was to make the undergraduate degree work for me in my graduate level. So I think that's working out pretty well. Yeah, the Thursday night course is going to be an interesting exploration, because it kind of reminds me of what I'm doing for my Friday classes. So we just finished up my classes this morning. I have 3 classes, one at 9, one at 10, and one at 11. They're called Residential Student Success, or Gen S 100C. And this is for students that live on campus in the residential halls. And it's kind of ironic, since I do not live on campus. I live further out in University Heights. So it's not, it's very strange that they had that set up for me. But I guess I can't complain. The last class of mine ended about 12:45 or so, or 11:45. I try to keep them. The class is supposed to go for about 50 minutes, but I want to keep them about 45 minutes at that, in case something happens, and to kind of accommodate certain students that have classes on the other side of campus. So I'm going to do my best with that. Beyond that, the Friday classes so far have been interesting. I don't think the kids quite get my humor or some of my things I point out, but I think with time they'll appreciate how I am as a professor, especially when they start getting really good grades back. But it's not about trying to create anything that's overly rigorous or anything that's too easy. But I definitely want them to earn their grade. I want them to feel like they've come away with something. And 2 of my inspirations for being a college professor have come from people who are teaching high school, oddly enough. And that's the character of John Keating, or the character who Robin Williams portrayed in the film Dead Poet Society, and Edward James Olmos's portrayal of Jaime Escalante in the movie Stand and Deliver. It's Dead Poet Society and Stand and Deliver, I think, are the two films that inspired me the most as a somebody who wants to be a student, or as a student who wants to be a professor. And so I want to do my best to emulate that kind of a person. And it definitely is not easy, and I think it is definitely an earned skill. And I'm going to do my best to earn that skill over the next, I think it's almost 3 months that I'm going to be teaching. Yeah, 3 months. Because the goal is to be done by Thanksgiving and just do these 13 sessions they have me planned to do. And then walk into winter break with a couple of months off before I have to hopefully teach rhetoric and writing study courses. And I'm really looking forward to those courses, since those are more courses that I feel like I'm trained for. These other classes are a little different. But beyond that, most of my classes are filled with computer science majors and psychology majors, which I find to be quite interesting. But I'm hoping to get them to relate to someone like me who is not that at all. But I don't blame them too much. I'm really hoping that the semester goes off without a hitch. But beyond that, I'm also looking forward to trying to write a little bit more for these different publications that I've been interested in, like Daily Aztec and this sort of, I don't know, semi-comedic satire newspaper they have on campus called the Koala. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, but I think if you've never heard of the Koala, I suggest that you look it up and find out what it is, because I feel like it's my kind of humor, but it's the kind of humor that you're supposed to keep in private, not in public. So that'll be an exploration unto itself when the time comes on that one. But aside from that, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to stick with Trek Central as a writer, or at least as somebody who generates ideas for them. I'm going to pitch another idea to them some point next week about um, something to do with like a Star Trek What If style show, and we'll see what they think of that. My best hope for everything for this semester is that the students can learn a little bit from me, and I can learn a little bit from them, and we kind of grow together as a community. I even hope some of them stay in touch, because I would love to see where a lot of these kids go in life, and I'm wondering where many of them will see themselves in 10, 15 years or something. And that's going to be one of our first assignments, is an assignment to kind of explore someone's personal roots and see how someone is and who they are as a person. So, yeah, it's the beginning of a long journey for me. Because in about 3 years, I'll have my master's degree, and in 6 years after that, I'll have a PhD, give or take. If I'm lucky, it'll all be from either San Diego State with the MFA, or a PhD from UC San Diego, in which case I'm stuck in San Diego for the next 9 years. But as I've mentioned ad nauseum at this point in my personal life, there's worse places to be stuck for the next 9 years. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But anyway, I've been online for the last 25 minutes or so. I think we're making some good time. Some of the students that I'd met, I won't name any names until I get a couple of them maybe to show up on this show and possibly discuss a little bit of themselves and their interest in writing and the sort of things that they like to write. There's already a few people that I have in mind that I'm definitely going to be teaching, or I'm definitely going to be keeping in touch with more closely throughout the semester and throughout the next 3 years of the program. I'm really hoping that none of them drop the program. I'm really hoping a lot of them stick around, because I think there's a lot that they have to offer for the next few semesters ahead. But yeah, I am looking forward to next week. We don't have class on Monday thanks to Labor Day. So in actuality, after tonight, I will be basically relaxing, enjoying myself until Wednesday. Almost a whole week off. Although I have to make sure that I don't slack off and let any of this get the better of me because that's never good. And yeah, that can lead to a lot of bad things. But anyway, I think that'll conclude a lot of my discussion about my first week in the MFA program. This will probably be the last time I talk about the MFA program until the end of the semester because I am planning to do a first semester in an MFA program episode toward the end of the year. That'll probably be what we end on, and that'll probably conclude the season for Scuttlebutt with the Phill and probably open us up for our rebrand at the beginning of 2025. And the show will stay the same. It'll just be the channel itself will be rebranded as something else, unless there's enough votes that come in that suggest that Fleet Admiral Levi should be the one that sticks around as the title. But let's see about that. Still a few months away. We have tons of episodes planned, and I'm doing my best to ensure that we release every single one on the exact time that I've planned it to be released. So from now on, the show will be on Fridays at 2 o'clock into perpetuity or until the end of the year. And then we'll come up with something else. But ideally, we're going to keep the schedule to Mondays being video essay release dates, and then we'll do short videos based on either clips from either the video essays or the live streams on Friday, and then those will be the shorts we release on Wednesday. So the channel is going to move forward. The channel is going to persist, and we will be producing more content and more things as the days go on. And if a few of you can look at what we have scheduled for the next few weeks, especially through the end of the year, you'll notice different episodes and different titles that reflect the kind of subjects that I'm looking to discuss while running this channel. Because I do want to focus more and more on world building as we get a chance to do that. And I don't really see myself moving away from it, especially since my biggest body of work is going to be the most challenging thing to write. And I think exploring those ideas and the stuff that's in them as soon as possible with its own video stuff, like its own clips and its own audio and its own fully realized video would be the best move for those stories I want to tell. Those ones are going to be designed in similar ways to how maybe some of you have heard of the Temple Institute or Space Talk or a few of the other science fiction based channels that are out there that explore the lore of a science fiction epic franchise. So I really hope you'll be there to join me, and I really hope that you'll enjoy what we have in store for the rest of the year and for the rest of time. I don't plan to end the show anytime soon. I mean, we're not as popular or as hated as some other channels, but we're going to carve our little niche into the YouTube landscape and see where all of it goes. But for right now, we are about to wrap up the 6th episode of Scuttlebutt with Phill on the Fleet Admiral Levi channel. And like I said, next week we will be exploring yet another interesting idea, interesting concept. And if I can see what it is, pull out the schedule. I think we have a lot of good things planned for the next few episodes, the next few months ahead. I hope you all tune into the State of Horror stream, and I hope you tune into the State of Fantasy streams. So far, the most highly viewed video of ours is the Star Trek Las Vegas 2024 video. But please tune into as many episodes as you like, as many as you can make time for. But yes, next week's episode, or rather, the episode's topic for next week, September 6th, 2024, at 2 o'clock, is Star Trek's 58th birthday. So we'll be going back to Star Trek for our 7th episode. And then after that, the week after that, we'll be going into a review of Space 1999 because it'll be Breakaway Day, and that'll be our episode 8. Episode 9 will be a retrospective on Star Trek Enterprise because the week after that is Star Trek Enterprise's 23rd birthday. Can't believe it's been that long already. And then the episode after that, which will be our episode 10, 10th episode of the Scuttlebutt with the Phill show. And that one will be exploring my From the Earth to the Stars franchise stories. So I hope you all join me for that. The month of October will be Horror Month on the Fleet Admiral Levite channel, followed by November being the Fantasy month for the channel. And then we will be closing out with approximately 3 episodes in December, which will be vastly different subject matters. But I hope you join me for all of them. And I hope that you all out there in the world, and I hope you enjoy all the things that we have still to come for this channel, for the show, and for everything else in between. So, until next time, keep the ravioli in orbit and don't take money from a man named Jack. See you all next week.